Hello, everybody, and thank you for joining us for another episode of Advocacy. Today, we have the pleasure of course, having my co-host Crystal and Madeline with me. Thanks, ladies, for joining me. We also have Sunny Mullen from Help, Hope, and Live. She's the director of outreach. So, with that being said, we're going to turn it over to Sunny so she can tell us a little bit about herself and then about Help, Hope, and Live.
Thanks, Paula, and thank you, Crystal and Madeline, for having me. It's been great getting to talk to you guys in the lead up to all of this and exciting to finally be here. As Paula said, my name is Sunny Mullen. I am the Director of Outreach with Help Hope Live. And we are a national nonprofit based out of Philadelphia, but we are national in all 50 states. We assist all ages, and we help individuals living with major medical conditions to fundraise for all of their medical and related expenses. And so myself, I've been here, crazy enough, almost 10 years come this summer. I grew up in the Philadelphia area, as we were lovingly just talking about before we hit record here, which is great. Go Birds. But, and I spent the first part of my career in New York. I was in New York living and going to school and worked in television for a long time. And grew up in nonprofit and service work and knew that at one point I wanted to get back to it and I wanted to get back home. I have a younger brother that lives with a rare genetic disorder and wanted to be closer to just my extended family in general. And so I moved home about 10 years ago, and which feels like a blink of an eye now, and started looking for work and was very lucky to be able to find a position with Help Hope Live from a friend of mine that worked here at the time and said, you know what, we have an opening in finance. I was like, I don't do finance. I just worked in television for 10 years. She was like, no, you can definitely do this. And so I came in and what we do at Help Hope Live is that while we, yes, help individuals fundraise toward their medical expenses, we then manage the funds so that they don't affect their personal assets. And then we help them pay their bills. And so I came in helping to process and pay the fund requests that were coming out. And so she was right. My friend was right. It wasn't really about being in finance. It was really about communication, attention to detail, and really being able to stay organized, which was all skills I could do. But my goal truly was to find a nonprofit that I could help tell its story. And so I knew I had found the right nonprofit with Help Hope Live, but I needed to start to be able to tell its story. And so I really wanted to try to open an outreach department. And so about, my goodness, almost 6 years ago now, even a little bit more than that, we were able to open our outreach department and really start pushing our mission more out into the communities. Because while we've been around for almost 43 years, there are still way too many people who don't know about us, even right here in our backyard. And so we are just going all over the place. As I just mentioned, I was just in San Antonio at one conference. I'm going to Jersey this week. I'm going to, Boston next week. And we're here to help tell our story so that more people can access our resources and start safely and supportively fundraising for all of their medical expenses.
Wow. I was just sitting here amazed because, like you said, I've never heard of Help, Hope, and Live. First of all, I like your title. I like the name. I mean, it just jumps out at us. I know for me, Sharon told me about you guys, and when I start looking you all up, I'm like, I've never heard of them. And the fact that you all are in 50 states, and I can honestly say for myself, I've never heard of you guys, but I love your mission. And Sunny, you just said a mouthful. I mean, I know Crystal and Madeline got something to say too, but first of all, I want to applaud you because the fact that you wanted to give back because your brother, had a disability. I think a lot of us, a lot of our drive and a lot of our passion comes from the fact that we have been affected by someone with some type of medical issue, some type of disability, something. I know that was for me because I had my daughter and it opened my eyes to the world. or in the lack of services, the lack of help, and the expensive medical bills, and the everything. So I really appreciate this for sure.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yes.
Well, Sonny, I was wondering, like, as you guys are, your organization is helping those with medical expenses. You kind of touched on it a little bit. I do get concerned about when people who receive like Medicaid and like they can only have so much money and like, and you said you protect that. And can you just explain that a little bit more? Because I know that's an important piece for a lot of maybe people that could use this service.
Absolutely. And thank you for picking up on that because it is a really important piece. So, we are providing individuals a campaign page on our website and our coordinators that help give them all the tools and support to go out and be successful in their fundraising efforts. When they are fundraising, they are technically fundraising for Help Hope Live in their honor. So we are managing the funds, and all of the funds stay within regionally restricted accounts depending on where they live. And that is where we pay the bills from. And so we are not, the funds are never the individual's assets. They are Help Hope Live assets. And so therefore that is how we help them safeguard their benefits. We can still pay out. We're here for their entire lifetime of need, helping them fundraise, helping them pay toward their bills, but they are Help Hope Live assets. And how that does in turn come into play is that if someone unfortunately passes away, or if they choose to close their campaign and there are still funds available in their honor within the region, they do stay within the region with Help Hope Live to then help others in the region. And so we are here to honor the donor's intent, to honor their medical expenses for as long as they need us. And that is how we are able to safeguard them, is that they are never their assets. We are able to say no to a fund request. We do have guidelines. So we are doing our best to make sure that we are truly safeguarding our community.
I love that because I was thinking that when you were saying it sounds like if I was to fundraise, like this money is accessible to me to cover my bills, but it's not in my name.
Mhm.
And should I no longer be available, then it can definitely stay within the region and help someone else. And I think
Yeah.
that's important too because the help that's needed, and I know to know that it stays within the area, that region, it seems like it's more beneficial because sometimes you might feel like it'll go just to the greater good, the bigger pot, and I guess that would be beneficial as well too. But I really like that. That's very helpful to learn.
Yeah, absolutely. And so we have families sometimes who, if they've raised more than enough and their loved one is good, we've had people turn their campaigns into memorial funds, and we're able to give grants out to individuals with similar conditions. We have ways of being able to help and honor that individual as well. But yeah, our main purpose here is truly to be able to provide that support, teach people how to fundraise, and safeguard their benefits so that we aren't pushing them back those two steps. We are truly helping them move forward with their independence.
Okay, that's good. So the money, I'm sure each person gets a different amount, and like you just said, you control the money. So how do you determine what how much you're going to use to pay out? For instance, it goes toward, let's say, person has Medicaid and or even private insurance, or you pay the remainder of their bill once the insurance comes in, or if they need certain other supplies that the insurance is not going to pay.
So yeah, so whether they have insurance or not, they are submitting their bills to us. And so we have
Okay.
a fund request form that they fill out. And even now we've fully updated our process so that all of this can be done right through their campaign page online, makes it a lot more streamlined. And so they are uploading their bills to us. And so it would be if they do have insurance, we would definitely want them to go through insurance first because they should get everything they can out of that insurance. And then if whatever is left, they can submit the bill to us and we pay out of that regionally restricted account. And, there are times that if there maybe, and you did strike on it, some people might raise more than others. Mm-hmm. And if there is a time that someone has used the funds that they have raised, we may be able to go, and that's part of that regionally restricted account, is that we may be able to go above and beyond on a bill at times and pull from that region. Okay. So that's not necessarily the norm, but it is something that we're able to do. And so we are here to honor the donor's intent, though, and to help them pay their loved ones, their friends' medical expenses.
This is like Paula and Crystal said, I've never heard of this organization. And speaking of a person with a disability, it's expensive for to get. Just me, I had spinal stenosis. I have spinal stenosis, and even the simple things like adaptive equipment off of Amazon or wherever, I could spend almost $300 a month. I mean, to be honest, everyday things, and that money, and I'm not working. Yeah, this is good. This is a really good program.
Yeah, unfortunately, and I mean, you all feel it, I'm sure. It's the disability tax. I mean, yes. The amount of time and money and energy that this community spends just simply on the extra things. And we won't even get into what the conversation in the world is right now as it is. Mm-hmm. And so we are here to hopefully alleviate just a little bit of that.
Now, Sonny, can you tell us, I know that you were saying, because as you were talking, I was thinking about some of the conditions that could be, approved. We had someone on here, I think in January, and his son had some type of heart disorder. And I'm definitely going to forward this to him. But he was saying some of the operations that he had at that point, I think they had did a fundraiser for them to even be able to stay in the hospital because the hospital was so far away from where they live. First of all, can you tell me some of, and I know you can't run through all of them, but give us an idea of some of the conditions that are approved through Help Hope Live. And then if they are approved, say like someone does have a child and the child is in the hospital where you want to be there with them every day, and it's like 70 miles away and you have other kids. To what extent do they pay? Do they just pay the medical bills, or do they even help the families like to be able to stay closer to them? Like what things do they pay for this funding?
So the conditions, certainly, as you said, we would be here all day, unfortunately, if we were naming all of the conditions that we cover. I will say, so we were actually founded by a heart transplant surgeon here in Philadelphia. So the first 20 years of our existence, we were solely assisting the transplant community. We were then known as a National Transplant Assist Fund. And so a group of their friends figured out that they really needed to help their patient community. And they were doing this for a good while. And then we had a local student here in Philadelphia get injured in a sledding accident. And they knew our model and they knew of NTAF. And they asked if we could open our doors. And so they were our first spinal cord client a little over 20 years ago now. And so the spinal cord community started coming in, and that was another bucket that we started helping, was the spinal cord injury, traumatic brain injury, those catastrophic injuries. And then in the last about 10 years or so, we truly have opened our doors almost as wide as they can go to the illnesses of the world, really all of the ABC diseases that have, all the initials, so all the CPs, the MS, the MD, the SMA, the rare diseases, cancer. I always say it's a hard thing to have to say, but really the only condition that we don't assist, or the community that we don't assist, is really the elderly, for the sake of being elderly. If they are lovingly going into old age and have some mobility issues, that is not a community we would assist. They do need to have an underlying diagnosis. But for the most part, if you have an underlying diagnosis of a major medical condition and you have financial expenses that run alongside that, we can help make a case to fundraise toward that. And there may be something that we haven't heard of before. I'm sure there still is. And so that's where doctor's notes come into play. If you're that motivated that you want to fundraise, I'm going to say we most likely will help you. There are some financial guidelines that come into play as well, that within our application. Our application is very simple, but we do have to be sure, and it's all self-reporting, but just that, the individual isn't making X amount of funds, isn't, a millionaire out there. Even though, as Madeline mentioned, that disability tax, we know that some people, even if they are from the outside pretty well off, if they get injured, that's $1 million in the first year. So there are conversations to be had. As far as expenses, so we say medical expenses and related costs. So that related cost really, again, runs the gamut. And just as you mentioned, driving back and forth, I always tell people the things that you don't think of are the medical mileage rate when you're driving back and forth to doctors. That is something we can help you fundraise toward. The parking at the hospitals, that is something we can help you fundraise toward. And yes, if you have to relocate, that is if you have to go to a hotel or rent an apartment for a month, that is something we can help you fundraise toward. We also help families with one cell phone per family, because we understand that to be able to access your doctors, you need a cell phone anymore. We have started even helping families fundraise toward their internet cost, because so much of what you do is talk to your doctors through the internet. So that is something we can help you fundraise toward. So it is truly anything related to the condition. And again, if it's something we haven't heard of, we will tell you, get a doctor's note, get a note of necessity. And if you can make a case for it, we will do our best to push it up to our board. We have we have an appeals committee on our board, even that if we need to send it up, we will. We are going to make a case for it as long as we can. But it's really quite a vast amount of expenses that we can help you fundraise toward, because we know that no one person's situation is the same.
Mm-hmm. Question. My mother had a traumatic brain injury, and we kept her home. She had an insurance and everything that was covered in the house, but the care, while I went to work, my sister went to work, we spent maybe about $1,600 a week.
Yeah, easily.
Do you also can help provide that?
Oh, of course. Yeah, personal care attendants is one of the top things we help our community fundraise toward. Absolutely. We understand that that's not something that families should always or can always do on their own. And it's a huge piece, especially our spinal cord community, that they need.
I wish I heard about you years ago.
but now you know, and you can never say it again. So it's all good.
To other people.
Yeah, we're starting here.
This is great. Thank you.
Of course.
So I'm trying to definitely help our viewers and our audience get a good idea and understanding. So when you're saying like the campaign, in my mind, I'm thinking it's kind of like almost the model of like when people can go on and see for GoFundMe and they can contribute. Is it something like that as well? Like a person can campaign where others can go on and support a certain cause, like we can find them, or do we locate a region? Like how would we go about it if there are people in the community who are learning about this and want to support? They may not have an individual in mind, but they might want to support just a cause. Because a lot of people want to support a cause, or like you were mentioning certain things like transplants, and some people, there are things that are dear to their heart, like Madeline is sharing. And some people think of their loved ones and they wish something was in place. They want to help the next person. So can you kind of help direct us on how we can do something like that, or how our viewers can?
I really appreciate anyone who guides me towards saying we accept all donations from anyone in any form. But yeah, so first and foremost, we do organizationally have, if you go onto our website, helphopelive.org, we have a donate button that you can donate to us as organization, which we always need and want. As of today, for people who maybe don't know an individual but want to support a type of cause, they would need to maybe reach out to us directly and give us some parameters. We are, as I'm saying, we've been going through a lot of website updates. So it is in the works that you would be able to go onto our website and actually be able to search maybe for your state or for a condition and actually be able to find a client that way. It's unfortunately not how we work right now, but if you do contact us and through our support email, support@helphopelive.org, you do get a real person on the other end of that. And, we can help you narrow that search from the inside for now. But yeah, we do appreciate that if people want that, because we do have clients in all 50 states and Puerto Rico living with all different types of conditions. And so, but again, I would be remiss as well that as an organization, that donate button is very important to us.
So, Sunny, real quick, I'm sorry, Crystal, did you have something else to add?
Well,
Go
I just
ahead.
wanted to I wanted to also ask, are donations tax deductible?
Of course. So we are
Okay.
501c3. All donations are tax deductible. We also have built into our donation process, if your company that you work for offers matching gifts, you can look them up in your donation process and see if they offer a matching gift as well to help double
Mm.
or even triple your donation, which is really important.
Mm-hmm.
And things that you can't do as a GoFundMe. And so you said, yes, the campaign page that we offer our clients is a website. It's fully customizable. They can put their pictures, their videos, tell their story. They can continue to update that as long as they're with us. And so that is where people go to donate in their honor, is right on their campaign page. And that is also where they can create their fundraisers. People can leave notes of support. So everything is done right through what we call the campaign page. So it's not necessarily that they're only fundraising for one thing. It's just that's their page with their entire story and everything that they're doing with us.
Yeah, I'm glad you mentioned that, because that's what one of my questions was, as far as how do you, I hear you say about the fundraiser, but how did they fundraise? So what they do is once they're approved, you guys go in and create a page for them, and they can kind of do it any kind of way they want. And then from there, they can accept donations. Because I'm assuming, like with Crystal, say that I wanted to donate to somebody specifically, then it's up to them to kind of send that out to everybody, and we see how to donate to them. Now, another question that I had was, is there, I know with GoFundMe, there's a portion that is taken away from, which a lot of people don't know that, but there is, if you're trying to raise 25,000, for instance, you do not get the entire 25,000, because there's a portion that goes, I'm sure, to administrative fees or blah, blah, blah. Is that the same with Help Hope Live?
So yes, we do have a 3% administration fee.
Okay.
And then there is a 2.65 credit card fee if you're donating online. We try to keep these fees as low as we possibly can, and donors are able to cover those fees if they choose to. So that comes out of the donation that's made in their honor. But all of the support that we're here to offer our clients comes at no charge to them. And beyond that, and kind of commenting on the first part of your question, there is the fact that yes, we help set them up with the campaign page and they populate that, but then at that point they have a coordinator available to them that can help them plan their fundraisers. So it's not just the campaign page. If they want to do physical fundraisers, we can help them create materials, flyers, business cards, any social media needs, if there's a press opportunity, and we help them get their story out there. And then yes, it is up to their family, their network, to get their page out there, to get their word out there. And then people are donating in their honor as well. So it's, we have people that do annual fundraisers. We have people that do sell stuff on Etsy. We have people that do solely online fundraisers where, it's really depends on the individual. Everyone is so different in how their network responds to their situation.
And so they can have an ongoing page, say for 10
Oh,
years
absolutely.
if they want it.
Oh yeah, we've had clients that have been with us for 20 years.
Wow.
And we don't close the campaign unless they tell us to. So it is open. We consider them active with us as long as they're having donations come in or fund requests going out within 3 years. So at that point, we will check in with them to see if they want to renew, if they want to update their page, or if what's going on in their lives. And, we're here for them for the long haul, because as you guys know, as Paula knows, your daughter has a lot ahead of her.
Yeah.
And so, an individual gets injured or diagnosed, it's not a one-time thing.
And I think another thing that's good with this is some of the fundings that I bump into, if you weren't born with a certain condition, a lot of the times they will not cover it. It's like if you something happens over time, like the spinal cord injury, like you
Yeah.
said, most of organizations don't look at that as something that they will cover because you weren't born that way.
Yeah, they don't look at acquired versus, just having. Yeah. So
Exactly. So that's very important. Thanks, Sunny.
absolutely.
Well, I particularly love how people can continue on the campaign more for to raise their funds. Um, what I would when you were just sharing that, Sunny, what came to mind is sometimes we see people in need asking for something, but we're skeptical to help because is it true? Is it legit? Is the money being for something else? And so having Help Hope Live, I'm believing like everything they do, that is at the forefront of it, and they could go back and they can research and they can see that this is legitimate, this is a good cause, this person couldn't just do this on their own without Help Hope Live's permission. I think there's a security in that as a donor, as someone contributing, um, and it makes you take someone's story more to heart in the sense because I mean the culture and the climate today is everybody is doing I don't like to say everybody, there's so much going on
Mhm.
and people are being swindled out or taken advantage of in their finances, and so people are just moving with more caution, and
Yeah.
I love that this part Help Hope Live supporting because you want to help people and there are people with good hearts, and to I mean just on the news their money is going to being stolen and taken from them, and an organization that could benefit and really help and support people. So I love that this is such a great organization behind an individual that's fundraising, that's in need, and they're supporting them whether they're selling goods or showing up at an event, whatever the family can do to help them. I think that is to me like the biggest highlight. That's for me, my takeaway, the biggest highlight of an organization like Help Hope Live. I mean, I already know, even though we talked earlier about where you're located and where I'm from, I'm located in Michigan right now. I'm in the Ann Arbor, Michigan area, and I can see this being such a very, I mean, I can't wait to just continue to share this so others can hear and learn of Help Hope Live.
Thank you. My coworker's in the Detroit area, so not too far from you. So yeah, no, it's as if I gave you talking points. So I'll pay you later. Thank you for that. So yeah, the one of the biggest things that we pride ourselves on really is that transparency. We do medically verify every individual that we work with. So everyone that's coming in to fundraise with Help Hope Live in honor of themselves or their loved one is getting a medical verification. We work with medical professionals all over the country to verify that the individual is who they are, that they have the condition they say they have, and that there are medical expenses related to it. And so that fraud just isn't going to happen with us. We've been around for 43 years. We are in the top 1% of nonprofits within Charity Navigator for over 17 years now. And it's really something that is very important to us because we see the people that come to us after having those instances happen. We hear it all the time. Losing their funds due to fundraising too much and the benefits issue, or people being taken advantage of, or, I even from working here, I read the fine print on everything I do now, as everyone should. And you should, we have the fine print on our website too. You should feel comfortable coming to us. And thankfully people do. So I appreciate that.
Now, I heard you talk about elderly care, and the first thing I thought about was like Alzheimer's and
Oh
dementia.
yeah.
Now, I know that we kind of relate that to our elderly community, but a lot of people are being
Getting younger and
diagnosed with
younger.
that in their 40s and their 50s.
Yeah.
Is that something that is covered under Help, Hope, and Live?
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. So by what I said earlier, and it's because it's the easiest thing for me to say. It's
Yeah.
like I said, my grandfather lived until he was almost 92.
Oh,
He
yes.
did not have an underlying condition. He maybe had some mobility issues towards the end, but not much. That wouldn't be, he wouldn't have been someone we would be fundraising toward.
Okay.
But if they absolutely Alzheimer's, Parkinson's, any dementia, any of those issues that have those medical expenses come with it. Absolutely. Those are
Because
things
I know a lot of people kind of relate that, and I did for years relate that to the elderly
yeah,
community, but now it's like so
no,
many
it's
people are
unfortunate.
being hit with that, at a young age.
Yeah.
So yeah, and then that's a lot of care that's involved in that because people want their parents. I just had a couple of people that I know that wanted their parents to be home, but
Yeah.
naturally, because of the cost of bringing someone in to care for them, it was just extraordinary.
Well, and in that vein, even, home modifications, something we can
Yeah.
help people fundraise toward. So that's a big piece as well, is just physically being able to get into your home after
Mhm.
being injured. A lot of clients, they're in the hospital for a month or so and they're sent home, but they can't even get into their house anymore. So
Yeah. And
it's
I
yeah,
will say that Morgan had a major surgery on her foot in 2019, which was one of the I just it was an experience, and she had to stay off of her foot for 3 months.
wow.
And they sent us home, and we have steps.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was, and then at the end, they were just trying to, they had a division at the hospital that tried to focus before she had the surgery. They brought me in and they did an overview of our life. And what they were trying to do is say, okay, we're going to set things up in advance so that once she had the surgery, we just turn on a light switch and everything goes in. Naturally, that did not happen.
Yeah.
So once they sent her home, we had to end up going right back to the hospital because they were like, okay, she can't do the steps. But I'm like, we don't have any bed or anything
Yeah.
downstairs. So how are we supposed to do this? I was on my own. I didn't have the care to,
Yeah.
I didn't have the staff to help. When I say something like this, even for a surgery like that, when I
Yeah.
think back at what I endured for 3 months, I was not sleeping. She was not
Yeah.
sleeping. It had to be when she was in the hospital, they had brought a nurse in to watch her during the night so I could sleep. Because naturally in the daytime, once she got up, if I hadn't had any sleep, it was like an ongoing,
Oh
like
yeah.
it's terrible. So something like this would have been a big help for something like that. And I don't think people, again, I'm glad you're doing more outreach
Yeah.
because yeah, we people need to hear about this because I do know that so many people wanted to do so much to help me. They would bring me food, but it was like, what else can they do? Most people
Yeah.
couldn't take off job and sign up for a day to take
Yeah.
care of her. So being able to create that donation page for us to even have someone to come in or for us to even have the necessary like rental stuff because it wasn't long term, but it was we could have rented equipment to have on the downstairs level for her for that short term thing.
Yeah.
It would have been great.
And I will say too, individuals, I always kind of promote people like come to us, open your campaign page before that
Yeah.
surgery happens. Just the fact that you are living with an injury or an illness qualifies you to work with us so that you aren't told overnight your van is no longer drivable. You aren't told overnight you have this surgery and you're not going to sleep for 3 months. Like start fundraising because in anticipation of the fact that you are going to have needs and so
Oh
that
my
you can set
God.
yourself up for that.
This is awesome. When I say this is awesome, I just think about my situation and
Yeah.
how this happened in April of 2019. This would have been awesome. And I will say, working with the hospital before the surgery, I can't remember how what they categorized it, but they were like, we're going to take consideration of all your needs so we can put a care plan in place and everything is going to work. When I tell you afterwards, I was like, well, where is the care plan? It was nothing in place. I mean,
Yeah.
nothing. They even sent us home. We had to end up going back into the hospital so that they could put us in rehab. They put us there for a month. And so once she came home, there was a 2 month span where I was by myself.
Yeah. And I will say, in devil's advocate of, because we were talking about this all weekend at the conference I was at, there is a real strain on the medical professionals as well, and they do as best they can to set people up, and sometimes it's better than others, unfortunately. And anymore, especially, I will say, like, strictly after injury, your care time, your time inpatient is maybe 3 weeks. It's just not long enough. And so I do know that the medical professionals want to be able to help, and I give them that benefit of the doubt, and it is just not always up to snuff. I know from the little bit we've met through the months, Paula, that not much is going to be up to snuff for you in the best way possible. So you're advocating for your child, and that is the hardest part.
Wow. So I think it's important that people also gain the understanding that um, the expenses that Help Hope Live, when you campaign and you raise these funds, um, it may look different for different people because I was going to ask that, and you guys have talked about it, like home modifications. Some people need a ramp,
Yeah.
maybe a temporary ramp that just goes over their steps so they can enter into their residence. Um, or just like a bed, sounds like it could possibly cover some rentals of um, a bed or a hospital bed or something, because maybe steps in a home would not allow that person to get around. They just need to be stable.
Yeah.
And I was just wondering also, what about usually sometimes insurance may not cover, but people are willing to do like ex, experimental treatments, like studies or something when they have a condition. Is that something that possibly that can be covered?
So it does need to be FDA approved. We do need to have
Yes,
some
yes.
sort, yeah. And so that's on our end. We do ask that it's FDA approved. We will most likely ask for a doctor's note, someone suggesting that you are going through this process.
Hmm.
But so, like, we do cover things like acupuncture and different types of mental health care as well. So things that you might not think of that are maybe a little outside the box at times.
Okay.
Um, but yeah, so we need them to be approved, and it may go through an extra step in our process to get them approved. But we'll fight for it if it's something you want. And I can't say it'll always be a yes, but we will try to get that yes for you.
Well, that's helpful to know because there are times that a lot of people in the communities, the doctors is suggesting something, and the barrier is usually cost,
Yeah.
because it's not really out there. It's such a high price tag to it, and it's a lot for an individual, let alone a family, to
Yeah.
bear. And when you feel like your doctor is suggesting this,
Yeah.
and this is, like you say, FDA approved, or it's in studies now or something, you know, sometimes you see some light, but it is dimmed out really, really quick. And I was just wondering if this is something, it doesn't hurt to ask
No, never.
for
Always say
people to
yes.
know. Yes. So, I mean, this is so helpful. Very
Yeah, I
helpful.
always try to let people know, like, let us be the ones to say no. Don't just
Yes.
assume that we wouldn't cover something. Let us be the ones to say no, so that you might get the yes that you didn't realize. And then I also just want to say, we've been talking about a lot of serious stuff too, but we can help families fundraise toward beach wheelchairs or adaptive sporting equipment or
Yeah.
adaptive bicycles, things that are going to let the individual live their life a little bit
Oh
easier.
my
That's
goodness.
great.
Yeah. So anything related to that condition, that is something we are helping families with left and right.
Yes.
And
Oh my
especially
gosh.
anymore because so many doctors will write a PT note for an adaptive bike. It's healthy living right there. And so that is something that there's so many more pieces of equipment that are coming out day in and day out that we can help you fundraise toward. Adapt, we talked about assistive technology or even service animals, things like that you wouldn't necessarily think
Oh
that,
wow.
those types of things aren't going to be covered by insurance as much as
No.
insurance may be fighting for other things. And so why not get your loved one out on the beach? Who doesn't want that? And so that's absolutely something we can help with.
Oh wow.
The oh, I'm sorry. Do you everything? Okay. Let's say, for example, someone is under your organization, and they don't have any family. They can't get help from other donors, and that they know. So y'all take on and give for other like not strangers, but people that don't know them. How do you do that? You understand what I'm saying?
I do understand, and
Yeah.
that is where it can get hard at times. And we
Yeah.
do, because we are community-based fundraising. So they do need to have some sort of community, whether that be friends, family,
Hmm.
school, anyone in their network, even if it's not physical, but virtual or in
Right.
different states. Maybe their friends or family live in different states and they have a
Mhm.
network that are willing to fundraise. Um, we try to work with them to figure out what type of community they might have before we hit that rock bottom. But there may be some situations where someone truly has no one, where if they don't have any community that's going to be able to donate, that is a harder situation. We can sometimes help from different grants or something, but we are community based fundraising, so they do need to have some sort of community, whatever that might look like to them.
Okay. I mean, this is good. This is yeah. I'm definitely going to spread this. I'm let everybody know about this. This
Yeah.
Thank
is
you. I appreciate it.
woo.
I'm
I
scared for
appreciate
my
it.
husband to hear about the dog
Oh
because
yeah.
that's, that's all he talks about. Morgan needs a dog. Morgan
Uh,
needs a dog. I'm
uh-oh.
like, no, she does not.
Oh no. You're gonna cut that piece out of the website, out of the
I
podcast
think I am. I think I'm gonna edit that part out because
then?
I promise you,
Yeah.
he's gonna find a dog because he's like, she needs a dog. And I keep telling him too. I know when we came to the world of possibilities,
Mhm.
I don't know if it was here this year, but I did see it last year or the year before. But they had the dogs out there where they have them, where they train them. And that's what I was telling him. I said, it's not just any dog for her. You have to
Yeah.
have a trained
Yes.
dog for her because you just can't have a dog coming in jumping on her. That's not something that she wants.
No.
In the adaptive tricycle, again, Sonny, I wish I knew you years ago because during the pandemic, I had to buy my daughter an
No.
adaptive tricycle. And it was, I will say, it was a wonderful experience for her because she has cerebral palsy. So it helped her with her pedaling, but
Yeah.
she got to learn how to ride a bike.
Yeah. Exactly.
That bike was ridiculous. It would have been nice to have it. Well, I'm serious. Again, everything
They're
costs
pricey. They are.
yeah, they're over $3,000.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Because they're
so
made specifically for the individual, and it is. I mean, it is a lot for sure.
Sonny, one thing I wanted to ask, and I already know the answer to this, but I'm doing this for our community so that they can hear it. I know we can do GoFundMe's for funerals. This has not been extended to that, correct? So even if a person has money in their account, and as we know, most of our special needs community, most of them to get insurance, it's the cost is astronomical. So they would not be able to use any money that is left over that was given for them for a funeral.
So we can absolutely. So funds that are raised in honor of the individual in their campaign, uh, you know, they can go toward basic funeral expenses. It's we can't go above and beyond because we understand some funerals get out. I don't want to say get out of hand, but I've seen some bills, and
Yeah.
everyone is deserved however they want to lay their loved one to rest. But we can assist with basic funeral costs, or at that point, any outstanding medical costs for, I believe, up to about 6 months after the individual passes, so that, because we know bills trickle in after the fact as well. So we can, if there are funds available in honor of the individual, we can assist with basic funeral costs.
I'm glad I asked that because
Yeah.
I did not think, I was like, yeah, she didn't. I see
Yeah.
Live too. Help Hope Live.
I know. And we've been asked this a lot. We can't help with, like, I know some people like to plan, and we can't prepay for funerals.
Okay. Okay.
But we can assist after the fact.
Yeah, because I know when my daughter was born, her dad he went to funeral. I mean, he went to one of the life insurances, and I'm like, yeah, we can't afford that. Naturally, because she had all types of medical
Yeah.
conditions. Realistically, there's no way we can afford insurance for her. And like you say, it's not like you're going to start a fundraiser and just with anticipation that she's going to pass away, because we all are going to go someday.
Yeah.
That doesn't make
Yeah.
sense. But just if the money is left over, so you can opt to say, could that go to her versus could you all just kind of redirect it to another person?
So yeah, and so it's not a matter of going to her. It's yeah, we would help with the funds and toward the bill. And then when the bills are paid, when you guys are ready to close the campaign, the funds then stay within the regional account to assist other people. So it
Okay.
is, yeah. So it's not, we are here to help as long as that individual has expenses that they need assistance with.
Okay, and one more question. If you had money left over, and I know someone that is has a help Hope Live campaign, or their can I say, can that money go directly to them, or is that something that is determined internally?
So they would still have to live within your similar region
Okay.
and then live with a similar condition as well, because we go by region and then by transplant, injury, or illness condition.
So the
Um,
conditions have to line up.
yeah, so
Okay.
it's, but there might be we've had clients do similar things like that where they wanted to do that, and like I said, we've had families who know they've raised more than enough that their loved one will need, and that we've been able to work with them. So it is a matter, we do have restrictions, but we can work with you to see if there's something that can be done.
This is awesome. I mean, when I say thinking out of the box,
Well, it's still not too late for Morgan to have a campaign, so
I know. I'm gonna tell you, if my husband hears this, he's gonna start a campaign for a dog. And I'm gonna be like, no. No, and I
we
will
might not
say
be
that.
friends anymore. Oh no.
No, when she was in the hospital for her foot, because Morgan is the type of person, her social skills are terrible. She
Yeah.
doesn't want to really be bothered with anyone other than her family. But when she was in the hospital and they brought along a dog,
Mhm.
oh my God, it was just it just was, she just laid in the bed. When that dog came in, she interacted with that dog.
That's
Even when the
awesome.
dog was leaving, she jumped out the bed to try to run after the dog.
Wow.
So, but it was a therapeutic dog.
Yeah.
It was
Oh
a
yeah, they
dog,
need to be trained. Yeah,
and
certainly.
it was a big dog because I was afraid, because the dog, it was a labradoodle or something
Yeah.
like that, and it was
Yeah,
extremely
they're wonderful.
tall. But she let the dog just sit in her lap, and she just patted the dog. So it's not to say that, that a dog wouldn't be helpful, but then I'm gonna be putting in a request to have somebody come walk the dog and help.
I mean, and that's it. Some of our clients need that because they don't have the ability to do it themselves. So
He doesn't need to hear this. That's
yeah.
all I'm gonna say. Because
All
all
right.
he
We'll
talks
stop
about
it.
is a dog all day long, but it's really for him. But he just disguises it for Morgan. Yeah, we may think about that. I will say, because I think a therapeutic dog would really be helpful to her. And even when we have been offered a dog, the dog has not gone through the proper training.
Yeah, you
And I'm
have to
like,
really
that's
be
a
sure to
whole
get the
nother headache. Yeah.
But
Mm-mm.
even, the modified vehicles, while yes, we can help you fundraise toward the purchase, we're also helping you fundraise toward the maintenance and the upkeep because it is,
Wow.
yeah, it's so important with these vehicles to keep them in good condition, especially because of how low they are to the ground. If you live in an area like Michigan that
Hmm.
gets snow and the salt on the ground, that car can rust real fast. So you really have to keep that maintenance up to date. So those are things we can help fundraise toward.
And so, when you share that you can start your campaign, we don't have to wait. And I think that's it's kind of natural that we are a bit reactive because
Mhm.
we might not know or anticipate certain things, and so and then it feels like a crisis. It is a crisis,
Yeah.
but then you're sharing like, hey, sometimes we know we live with a condition, and we can start a campaign. We can open up, we can request, see if we're approved, verified, and start a campaign. But if I were to start a campaign and I just be like, okay, right now I don't need this, I don't have this going on, like, it feels like you're campaigning for anticipated costs for something. And so, like, how does an individual kind of do that? Because even though they might can't see down the road, because I have some teenagers and young adults, I don't know how down the road it's going to look,
Yeah.
But if I wanted to start a campaign today, like, what are some of the things that I could like share
Yeah.
on my page or something so people feel confident in what they're help, because they might say, well, there's nothing wrong with them, let me call
Yeah.
them up and see what's going on. He's like,
Yeah.
well, so can you kind of help
Well,
explain that a
that's
little
yeah,
bit?
that's where the telling of the story really comes into play, and you talk about what their everyday life is maybe, and if
Mhm.
they are using assistive technology, or if you know, especially for younger guys that maybe are under pediatric benefits, if they're going to start aging out of those benefits, that's part of that story. There are things that, if you have a good working van, but maybe it's on the last legs of its career there, you can tell that story. There are ways to spin that, and we want to be able to stay out of that crisis mode. Think about
That
how much more you can be of service to yourself in your fundraising if you aren't in that crisis mode. You'll have more
absolutely.
energy to be able to actually pay attention and do what you need to do, so that even we're here to try to help you stay out of that crisis mode. And so that's even the story that, help me just live my life a little bit easier day in and day out. Let me just keep my independence rather than go in crisis and head back to the hospital or all of that. And so we can try to help you spin that, talk you through that, but it really is a matter of staying out of crisis. That is
Yes,
what we're trying to keep our community from.
this is
Is
such
this
good
just for
information.
individuals or is this for businesses as well? Like, could a Help Hope Live, for instance, let me give you an example. And I know we could talk offline, but if you wanted to open like a center for special needs individuals and you find that they need different equipment, can someone from another nonprofit use Help Hope and Live to raise money for some of the equipment in that center?
So our main focus is the individual.
Okay.
We do have what we call compassion funds for organizations that want to fundraise. If they want to offer funds that can help maybe kickstart someone's campaign, if they want to help fundraise toward their specific piece of equipment. We don't generally work with other nonprofits just because they already have their own nonprofit status. It's not
Mhm.
necessarily something they would need us for. So we can also help maybe with employers if they want to fundraise toward their employees, if their employees, and they can help support their employees if they get injured or diagnosed with something. So there are ways we can help organizations or groups of people, but our main focus is the individual. That is what we
Okay.
mainly work with.
Okay. So it's for a specific individual with a specific illness, because naturally,
Yeah.
like you say, they have to get medical documentation.
Yes. Yeah, and we're not asking for any medical documents. We do have clients sometimes that send us a whole history. We do not need all of the information. It is a very simple one sheet form that we get the medical professional to fill out, just verifying that they do indeed have that condition.
Wow. So just Morgan having cerebral palsy automatically
Absolutely.
not automatically, but
Yeah.
she is going to have, I mean, and she has had adaptive equipment. I may really look into
Yeah.
this because I never even thought about this. And it's funny because for her birthday or something, some
Yeah.
people may ask me, like, well, what does she need? And I'm like, I
Yeah.
be wanting to say, what she need, y'all can't even afford.
True.
Really, because
Yeah.
as she gets older, you try to, I think the bike helps her more, but there's a lot of things that could be beneficial to
Yeah.
her. But to give someone a gift with a price tag like that, they would think you crazy.
Yeah. And that's a great point too, though, around the birthdays, around the holidays. And like Crystal said, how do you fundraise when you maybe don't have something, you're not in crisis mode? But people want to give around those holidays. And so that's a great time to have people do that little bit of fundraising so that you have a safe way. And then you're giving them a tax deductible donation. And, it's better that than having money just sit in a bank account somewhere. This can actually eventually go towards something they might need. So a lot of people will do that. We have 2 days of giving throughout the year as well, where we cover the credit card fees so that people can help maximize their fundraising efforts. So just little things like that. But yeah, you know, them having the medical condition, and also you just have to have the motivation to do the fundraising, because we do a lot with you, but we're not here to do it for you. And you need to have the community. So those are really the three pillars of being able to be a great Help Hope Live client.
Well, I would love it when you have the credit card, the 2 days where you
That's
do
what I was
that.
about to say. Can you tell us those 2 days?
Oh,
Of
I
course. So
definitely
yeah,
gonna
we
put
have
it
one
on our
coming up
website.
actually.
Yeah.
May 29th is our Hope in Action. And so that is our day of giving here in the spring. And so that is when people can donate in honor of clients, and we will forego the credit card fees. Not the credit card fees, I'm sorry, our administration fee. So we forego that 3% administration fee. If we could forego the credit card fee, that would be a whole different thing. That's not on us, unfortunately. But yeah, so we forego the 3% administration fee.
Mm.
And so that mainly applies when you're donating in honor of an individual. I will say you can always donate to Help Hope Live, and there is no administration fee because our organization obviously has that already. So the second one is part of Giving Tuesday, which a lot of people are familiar with in the fall after Thanksgiving. It's that first Tuesday after Thanksgiving, and which is a bit more of a saturated market since a lot of nonprofits make use of that. But the Hope in Action, and it is a full 24, almost 27 hours, because we make use of 3 extra hours to let the West Coast get a full 24 hours of giving as well.
This has been awesome. Oh my gosh. I appreciate the fact that you guys opened up your doors to, so like from the A to the Z,
Yeah.
because to even, I mean, some of the things I was thinking, I was like, I'm not going to ask, but I'm just glad I did. But this is
Yeah.
the whole point of the podcast, so that we can educate ourselves, because if you think it, it seems like you all have already thought it. So
Or we're always strategizing, looking forward as well. So it's, people come to us, and this is where we get our ideas too, from people asking the questions. So we appreciate it.
well, Sunny, I know we're going into closeout. This has been so great. And I
Yes.
know you have been so busy. We've been trying to get a tie
Yeah.
down a date, but I appreciate you making time to come on here and talk to us about Help Hope Live. I definitely will. I'm going to spread the word, because,
Thank
and I
you.
do want to have it where that goes under, on our page under our resource guide,
Yeah,
because
thank
this
you.
is a great resource for families. A great, and most of our families that come on, they have had some type of medical crisis, and they've just had to work it out, not
Yeah.
really understanding and knowing of this avenue, or this mechanism in place to even help them. Because as we know too, when it comes to, you already somewhat are overwhelmed with, if your child has, sick, or your family member is sick, not just your child. But then the harder part comes when it's the medical part, the
Yeah.
financial part comes in.
Yeah.
So this is a big help, and I appreciate you
Thank you.
coming on to share, Help Hope Live with us.
Thank you. And I will say one thing we haven't mentioned is, if someone is interested in starting a campaign, they can go on our website, helphopelive.org, and there is a get started button there at the top of the page where you will fill out some information, and then you'll get a phone call from one of our coordinators. Or at any point, you can just call our 800 number at 800-642-8399 and speak to one of our coordinators, and they can help get you started. So
Thank
that's
you.
really important as well. We're here to try to make this as easy of a process as possible.
Well, I appreciate that. Thank you so much. Okay, Crystal and Madeline, I'm gonna give you all an opportunity, and then Sunny, you can close us out.
Yes,
Well,
this
this
is.
was
Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead, Crystal.
this was a wealth of information. Definitely something that I see in the community on so many levels. With it's just not limited. I think going into this, I thought it was just going to be limited to like just medical, like
Mhm.
your actual bill, maybe with a medical provider or services. But the expansion of it is great, and people won't know unless they inquire. So
Exactly.
definitely go to the website, inquire with Help Hope Live. Thank you, Sunny, for your time.
Thank you.
This has been great. And the title, Help, Hope, and Live, you're helping individuals that need, especially for finances, you're giving them hope so they're able to live. And the biggest thing is when people are sick, they want to be able to heal and not worry about the
Yeah.
financial part, because that can bring a big toll on themselves and the family. And like, it's this is great. Like I said, I will spread this to everybody. This is a
Thank you,
wonderful
ladies.
thing you're doing. Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you,
you
ladies.
so
I
much.
really appreciate the time today. I mean,
Yes.
this conversation went by fast. You're easy to chat with. I hope we get to do it again at some point.
Yes.
We'll come visit us in Philly. You all have ties now, so and if you ever see us out in another Abilities Expo, come say hello. I'll definitely be down at World of Possibilities again next year. That was wonderful.
Okay.
We're really lucky that they're
Good.
such supporters of ours. So,
Yeah, I
uh,
plan to be there next year for sure.
great,
Yeah.
great. So yeah, thank you for the time and anything that we can do to help your community, we are here to do. So I appreciate it.
Yeah, we will talk. Yes. Thank you.
Well,
Thank
thank you
you.
guys, and I appreciate it. Everybody have a wonderful weekend. Please join us
Yes.
next week. We also have a fundraiser coming up. It's a raffle, and it's going to take place most likely in the next week or so. So we're
Hmm.
asking everybody to come and support us because we're definitely trying to be a help for most of our parents when it comes to the advocating process for their students, for their IEPs, sending them out to the meetings. So we are definitely we have done a great job with the money that we have raised from the walk. We have been it has been such a help for our parents and just being able to um, pay an advocate to go out. So again, just like with Help Hope Live, it takes the stress off of the parent so that you know that if you
Hmm.
have an issue with the school or with the IEP, the implementation or the creating it, we have a advocate that goes out to the meetings with them and the parent does not have to worry about the cost. So with
Right.
that being said, we're just asking everyone to just help us out with this raffle because we feel like it would be very beneficial to our parents. And again, it's further along advocacy's mission to educate and to be a resource for our parents. So again, please join us next Thursday. And again, thank you, Sunny. Thank you for
Yes.
Thank you,
Thank
ladies. I appreciate
you.
it so
doing
much.
this.
Take care. All right.
Everybody have a great weekend.
You too.